Well, I'm riding down the road in Kansas, traveling from Wichita to Montezuma in a U-Haul truck. So I've got a little bit of time here. I thought I might tell you all a little bit what's going on. There's not going to be a regular podcast episode release this week. Unfortunately, we did our best to make it happen, but it seemed like life intervened and we didn't make it happen. So maybe I'll put this out. Maybe I won't. I don't know. Have to see what Kent and Alex say. But like I said, I'm in Kansas. I left Southwest Florida last Thursday, drove up to Georgia, and we spent the weekend there dispersing my parents' estate. And then we packed up some of their belongings in the U-Haul truck that I'm driving, together with some items that my brother and his kids are going to get from the estate. And I'm driving the U-Haul truck to Montezuma. And I realized as I was en route that Kent was going to be in Wichita last night. He's attending a funeral up here somewhere today. So anyway, I got on the phone with him. I messaged him and told him I'd be enthused about meeting him to do the podcast if we could. We were going to try to do it remotely from the road, like I was going to do my segment. We were all going to log in remotely like we normally do. But then I realized that Kent was going to be in Wichita, and I was going to be passing close by Wichita. So we were going to get together, and Kent and I were going to be together, and then we were going to meet up with Alex virtually online and do the podcast, like we normally do. But when Kent was getting ready to leave Atlanta yesterday afternoon, they canceled his flight and put him on another flight from Atlanta to Minneapolis, and then from Minneapolis into Wichita, and then that flight got delayed. And so Ken didn't get into Wichita until it was too late to do the podcast. And I talked to Alex a little bit, and he's been under the weather, and he was kind of tired. And by that time, I was feeling a little tired because I drove a good part of the day. And it ain't no fun driving a U-Haul truck. There ain't no luxury going on with a U-Haul truck. It takes a lot of driving, hands-on, no cruise control, can't be distracted. So I was a little weary myself. So we just decided we were going to hang it up. We were going to say that we weren't doing the podcast episode for the week. And I think we were all a little disappointed because we're pretty committed to getting together every week and talking to each other and encouraging each other and then putting out the episode for whatever it's worth to the rest of y'all out there. So that's the story. That's why we're not able to do it. We made an honest effort, but finally it got to the point where it just didn't seem realistic. So anyway, Kent had a big weekend. Maybe he'll tell us more about that next week, but his daughter got married this weekend, so he was busy with that over the weekend. And then, like I said, he flew from Georgia to Kansas yesterday. That would have been Monday. So I think they had a good weekend with the wedding and everything. He seemed enthused about that. So hopefully he can catch us up on that news a little bit next week. And then I had a very interesting weekend. Maybe I'll tell you a little bit about that. I've had a lot of thoughts around family and what that all is supposed to look like. Like I said, we're moving my parents to a retirement home in Montezuma, Kansas. And it's been really interesting to go through this all with them. Our parents told us probably 6 or 8 months ago that they were ready to move out of their home in Georgia to the retirement home in Montezuma. And so we started taking steps to make that happen, and it all came together very nicely. I've been very impressed. I think it was a God thing the way it all worked out. An apartment became available at the retirement home where they're going at the best time possible, and everything came together very nicely. So anyway, so we as a family decided to get together. Well, first of all, my mother told us that she wanted to disperse of their belongings before they passed on. She wanted to do that while she was still around rather than having us kids do it after her and dad have gone on. So we made a plan that we kids were all going to get together Easter, which was this past Sunday, and make this whole thing happen. And as it turned out, all of the grandkids except one were able to be there. So it turned into a, a genuine family reunion is what happened. So there was one grandchild that's down in Jamaica, spending some time down there with his family. So he was unable to make it, which was unfortunate. He would have loved to have been there, but anyway, he was the only one missing. So we were all there except for him. And I kind of wondered how it was all going to go because, when you distribute things or disperse of an estate, feelings can get hurt and people can get bent out of shape. And I didn't know how it was all going to go. One thing I can say about my family, we've got a lot of problems and faults. I'll freely admit that. We're a bunch of screwed up people. Uh, but we pretty much get along. When we get together and hang out together, we have fun. There's usually a lot of laughter and good times. And I really appreciate that about my family. We live all over the place. We grew up in Georgia. That's where our parents raised us for the most part. I was 2 years old when they moved from Kansas to Georgia. I'm the youngest. So for the most part, we grew up in Georgia. And then over the period of about, I don't know, about 3 or 4 years, there's four of us siblings, three of us moved away. One moved to Oregon, one moved to Kansas, and I moved to Southwest Florida. And then my one sister, she stayed in Georgia. So we kind of went to the four winds a little bit as kids. But when we do get together, we really enjoy being together. I believe, at least I think so. That's my opinion. So anyway, we made a plan that we were going to come together at Easter and all of this stuff, furniture and personal belongings and shop tools and all of that. It was all going to be given away to whoever wanted it. And we made a plan that how we were going to be organized, and picking the things. We decided that we were going to get together as much as possible a day ahead of time or the morning ahead of doing this, and so everybody could look around at the house and the shop and everything and see what they wanted, see what they were interested in. And then we made a list of all the names, in chronological order, oldest to youngest. And then we decided people were just gonna start picking whatever they wanted. They could pick one thing, when it was their turn, and then it'd go to the next younger person and the next younger person. And we put everybody on there from the oldest person all the way down to the youngest, who was a baby that was like, I don't know, 2 or 3 months old, something like that. Of course, they can't talk very good, so their parents had to pick for them, which kind of gave their parents an edge because they could pick what they wanted. They didn't know what the baby wanted because the baby can't talk so good, so they had to pick. They could pick what they wanted, more than once. That's all right. It's all good. And so we did that, and it really went well. I know that everybody didn't get exactly what they wanted. They didn't get everything they wanted, but I don't know of anybody that got bent out of shape or hurt feelings over anything. And it was a lot of fun. We kept it fairly organized and we kept it moving pretty fast. Didn't spend a lot of time reminiscing or anything. And we went through and everybody picked the things that they wanted, that they were interested in, and we did that, and then we kind of went room by room to make sure we were getting everything. And we were going through the list and it started feeling like people didn't have a whole lot of interest anymore, then we just kind of opened it up and we said, all right, whoever's interested in the rest, y'all can just figure it out among yourselves for the next few minutes. And that's what they'd do. So that's how we spent Saturday, getting everything given away that everybody was interested in. And then as we neared the end of that, we started packing the U-Haul up. My parents had figured out everything that they wanted to take to their apartment where they're going to be living in Kansas in their retirement home. So we packed the U-Haul up with all their stuff and all the stuff that my brother and his kids, who also live out here in western Kansas, we've got that all packed up in the U-Haul truck and got it ready to go. And then we had our last big family supper together that night at the old home place where we grew up, dairy farm. there in Georgia. That was a lot of fun. My brother-in-law and sister own that place and live there now, so we all went over there like we used to do. We used to get together every Saturday night at that place when my parents lived there. We'd all go home and hang out on Saturday night. So we did that one more time. Enjoyed a fish fry over there. My brother-in-law is an excellent cook, so he fried up catfish and all the stuff that goes with it, you know. So we had a supper there, and then Sunday morning I left with the U-Haul, and my parents left with the RV, and we headed out. And I'm about 2.5 hours right now from Montezuma, our destination. So when we get there, we're going to be unloading everything and getting them installed in their apartment. So it's going to be getting them moved on to their next phase of life. So the thing I wanted to talk about just a little bit in regard to that story that I just told you is what families are supposed to look like. Because like I said earlier, our family gets along pretty well, I think. And I don't know why that is exactly. I don't really understand it. It's something that I have taken for granted most of my life. And just recently I've started realizing that maybe not all families get along like we do. And I'm not saying that with any arrogance or taking any credit for it, because I don't think we can take any credit for it. I think ultimately it's a blessing from God. And also, it's got to be something to do with the parents. Like when I look back at my parents, all respect to my parents, don't get me wrong. I love my parents, but they're humans and they're not perfect and they made plenty of mistakes. I'm sure of that. But somewhere along the way, it looks to me as though they did something right. And I wish I could put my finger on it. And I asked my siblings Saturday night when we were hanging out together. I asked them. I grabbed a little moment there when we were all together and there wasn't a whole bunch of other people around, and I just asked him. I said, "What do you think it is that made this work?" And my oldest sister, she said she thought maybe we were taught to give in. And she might be right. I don't know if that's all of it, but it might be part of it, because she said she remembered that we didn't get away with not giving in, that we had to give in. And I'm not sure exactly what all she's talking about, but she said she remembered that my brother did not like to sit with my dad in church. And so to try to make that all work at home, when they would have family devotions for a while there, my dad would hold my brother. He was just a little kid, you know. My dad would hold my brother on his lap, and my mom would have family devotions. She would read the Bible and pray or whatever. I don't know. I don't know how that all worked. But my dad would hold my brother to, try to make this whole thing work, to get it to where he would sit with him in church without making a fuss, you know? And so that's just an example, I guess, of where my brother didn't get away with having his way, that he wanted to sit with his mother all the time. So I don't know if my sister is onto something there, if that's all of it, if that's some of it. But I've been spending a lot of time thinking about this, because somewhere along the way, I'm convinced that my parents did something that gave us the ability or the chance to, I don't know, to be a part of a family that gets along, I guess. So I'm really thankful for that. I'm really thankful to be a part of a family that, while we're not together much, really, maybe that's maybe that's part of the key. We live stretched across these great United States of America from one corner to the other, and we're not together very often. So maybe that's the key. Maybe the key to getting along is being apart for long stretches of time. Then when you get together, you have a lot of fun. I'm not sure, but I don't think that's all of it, because we enjoyed each other's company when we all lived in Georgia, I believe. So anyway, I guess the reason I'm saying this is I wish that all families could have this. And I would like to encourage young parents to do everything you can to try to create an atmosphere in your home, to train your kids in such a way that you can have that when you get old. Because the older I get, the more I realize that having kids that enjoy being with you, that want to come to your house, that is one of the greatest blessings in the world, I believe. I don't care how much money you have. If your kids don't want to come home and be with you, that money don't mean a whole lot, I don't think. So but I don't know. I hope I did that. I don't know. We're just getting to the point where we're gonna start finding out because man, I hadn't even thought about this exactly, but my oldest son moved to Nebraska from Southwest Florida. Like, why do you move from Nebraska to Southwest Florida? That's just ridiculous because it's warm and sunny in Southwest Florida most days. Feels great. And Nebraska gets mighty cold in the wintertime. But anyway, he likes it up there, I think. Seems to be enjoying himself and prospering. Married a girl from up there and they're living there. So he's there. And my daughter, she's teaching school in Eastern Oregon. They're near the Idaho border. So she's over there. And my second son, Luke, he just got back from Africa. So my kids are kind of doing the same thing we did, I guess. They're kind of going out and exploring and living life. And in all reality, they're probably going to end up living somewhere else than where I live as well. Very likely. Never know. So I'm hoping it's too late if we didn't, but I'm hoping that whatever we did when they were kids will make it so they get along with one another and get along with us and that they want to come home occasionally, and hang out, be with us and have a good time. Anyway, that's what I've been thinking about a lot the last little while is how families are supposed to work and what makes it work and what makes it to where a family likes to be together. And like I said, I just don't know what it is. I can't really, I don't feel like I can put my finger on it. I do know that growing up, there was a certain amount of order in our home, but there was also quite a bit of latitude. Like we did a lot of crazy stuff that looking back, I'm not sure why my parents put up with it, to be honest with you. I remember four boys sitting out in the yard around a card table playing cards in the middle of the night. I'm not for sure why. I mean, we had a perfectly good house, but that's what they were doing. And I remember my mom buying guns for us when we were way too young to buy guns. I don't know how many guns my mother officially legally owns. And I remember her shooting one of them, 12 gauge Browning shotgun, semi-automatic shotgun. That's a beautiful gun. My brother still has that. Maybe one day I can buy it from him or something. 'Cause I got a lot of memories with that gun. He probably won't turn loose of it though. Anyway, I remember my mom shooting it. She was out by the shed where the feed mixer was for our dairy cows, and she shot that thing with her eyes squeezed shut. But she shot it. I don't know. I remember a lot of good times where there wasn't a lot of order, or things were a little out of hand and rowdy, maybe. I don't know. And I wonder sometimes if there's some kind of a mix of discipline and order together with allowing a certain amount of chaos. If there's something in that helps develop an atmosphere where kids like to be, where kids enjoy being. I don't know. I really don't know what it is. I hope one day that I can distill it, understand it, put my finger on it, and really understand what it is. But at this point, it's something I'm just mulling over in my mind and trying to understand and think about. But anyway, like I said, we're not putting out a normal podcast episode this week. So I was riding down the road here, had a little time, and figured I'd put this together. I'll talk to Kent and Alex and see if they want me to put it out. I really wish they could have been with me last night. That'd have been great. We had a couple topics we were interested in talking about, but we'll catch those next week. So anyway, I hope y'all had a good Easter, all of you out there. And I hope you have a good day.
that tore the veil away. It shatters all the old constraints, reveals a brand new day. I once believed I had to earn to keep you satisfied, but grace declared the work was done, the blood alone applied. Offense of grace, how sweet the sound, the blood alone redeems. It frees the slaves and calls them sons, fulfills the law's demands. Oh, yeah. Offense of grace will wreck your world, relentless and untamed. It settles all your demands, leaves no debt to pay. From tables flipped in temple courts to the Pharisees' dismay, this grace offends self-assured and shakes the stronghold's core. Offensive grace, how sweet the sound, the blood alone redeems. It frees the slaves and calls them sons, fulfills the law's demands. Oh, yeah. From those who judge with stones in hand, to sinners brought to feast. Ah, this grace offends self-righteous pride, but sets the captive free. It's grace that breaks religion's chains, forgives the penitent. It lifts the broken from the dust, exalts the